do with the big morning storm this morning. I knew there was trouble brewing when I pulled out of my garage out there in far East Mesa, and it started sprinkling. By the time I was on the 60, the Superstition Freeway, it was pouring. My poor windshield wipers have been worked overtime so far this particular monsoon. Celeste, you know what I'm talking about with that?
I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, they always ask you, too, like when I go to Discount Tire.
Oh, hold on one sec. When you go where?
When I go to Discount Tire, they say, "Oh, do you need new windshield wipers?" Because in the summer in Arizona,
so
they'll
true.
dry up
Yes.
if you don't use them, and we don't use them enough.
Correct. It's like they're glued to the glass. And you're like, well, you know, it hasn't rained in like 6 months, so what do you expect?
Yes.
Anyway, that's going to be our big story this morning. Not so much, well, we have plenty of great pictures. You got to see, for example, look at that big morning storm right there. This is what it looked like as it was happening. This is kind of of in those pre-dawn hours, and I mean strike after strike after strike, these lightning strikes were pretty impressive. And so that's going to be one of our big stories this morning. But I think maybe more importantly, we're going to find out from Crystal what might be coming next in various parts of Arizona. The other thing that we're going to be talking about this morning, actually, we have several items for you, but could Bryan Kohberger actually get a new trial? He already pled guilty. He already admitted that he did it. We're going to bring Josh Kolsrud on to see whether or not that's actually a possibility. Colonel Sanders' house, Celeste, is going up for auction back there, I think, in Kentucky, huh? Or in that area.
Are you serious?
The rumor is, like, maybe he had a handwritten copy of his 11 herbs and spices.
Yeah, so apparently there could be the potential for a KFC journal.
Good.
He talked about how good that chicken made him feel after that great meal.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one hard recipe to locate for sure. And big news for fans of the music legend Prince. But let's get right into it with Crystal Ortiz. Good morning, Crystal.
Good morning, Crystal. Hi, good morning, guys. It was a busy morning.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because I woke up in the middle of the night, and what's the first thing I do? I see a couple of lightning strikes. I'm trying to think what time that was. But anyway, so I just real quick, I open up the app, and if you do the fast forward thing, it looked like it was all going to peter out in the middle of the night. Well, by 5 o'clock this morning, it was pouring.
Yeah, the radar changed, huh?
Well, we knew that there was a chance between 2 and 8 this morning, and that's what we were calling for last night. And then it was pretty much when it started firing up, because I woke up a little after to check. First thing I do when I wake up on a day that I know there might be rain overnight is I roll over, turn off my alarm, and then I check my radar. So I checked radar and saw that we had some of those storms that were down to the south, and it was like, okay, they look pretty good, and then they were able to make it up to us. So it was pretty good rain when I drove in at 3:15 or so. I was driving down the road, and it was already starting to really pick up.
I think I got up about 3:30, and I took a gander out, and it was like there's puddles everywhere. We're in Midtown, and so you could tell that the storm moved through.
The first round, and the second was once you were here in the building.
Yeah, there's 3 in the morning right there. That was the Broadway curve. Here is some of the rain as it was coming down. So, Crystal, what is it that actually happens in the atmosphere? I mean, we're kind of used to seeing late afternoon and early evening thunderstorms because of the heat. But when we're getting on into almost the sunrise hours, then what fires it up?
So this was every once in a while down in parts of northern Mexico, you'll get these tiny little these little systems, we call them disturbances, that'll have a lot of energy and a lot of moisture with them down in the Sonora area. Okay. And once in a while, they'll drift up into Arizona. And if we get one of those, it provides enough of that match that typically you get with afternoon heating, enough energy trigger for the storms to happen overnight or in the early morning. And that's what happened this morning, is we had one of those little teeny spins, actually kind of broke into 2 spins over Arizona this morning, which I always love to show off on radar. I think it's so neat when we can see those features. But so that's what helped fire the storms this morning. And it's continuing to fire some storms actually right now. So here's the look in downtown Phoenix. Like you said earlier, it was dumping rain. Now we just have some clouds lingering, and those are starting to break up as well. So in the valley, we're pretty much done with our rain chances. Aside from a sprinkle or 2 left behind, we'll be drying out, more sunshine by this afternoon. But as you head into the high country, those storm chances will continue. I thought we'd quickly look at just some of the Maricopa County Flood Control District numbers because of the fact that, those are always available to us, and I love showing them off. Apache Junction this morning picked up about a 1/2 inch of rain.
Wow, it's a big number.
I know, pretty good. And then anywhere from 1/10 to 1/4 inch picked up in Gilbert. I will say, when I was driving in this morning, it felt like it was 5 inches of rain that fell on my car. It was coming down so heavy, but it was brief. It was so fast that you didn't get a huge number in any one specific spot. The biggest thunderstorm fired up between Mesa and Tempe, and then it rolled over South Scottsdale before it started to weaken into downtown Phoenix. But we heard that thunder in downtown Phoenix at it was 6:45 because we were just coming to the studio. So and it was it was loud when they were rolling through. So you could see anywhere again from 1/10 to 1/4 inch, maybe 1/3 inch in parts of Scottsdale, and then everywhere else that's shaded in green is an indicator that while there was some rain, it may not have been huge totals, a few hundredths of an inch to up to 1/10 of an inch of rain, and that does include the North Valley as well as the West Valley too, where it was.
I thought Anita jumped out of her seat every lightning strike every thunderbolt. It's like she was looking for a place to hunker down.
I know, right? You know, we have Jared of Sonora. He's in Youngtown. He said he didn't receive much at all, but just a couple sprinkles. So it's interesting when we take a look at how much rain fell in Apache Junction, almost half of an inch, and then south of Scottsdale was but 0.02.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, isn't that the nature of the monsoon? Every year we get this where it's like people truly want to know, will it rain in my backyard? And although I wish I could pinpoint to every backyard, it's these scattered storms get pockets that are really heavy and then parts that are fairly light, and that's what we saw this morning with those storms. Most people got at least like some sprinkles, but not everybody got the big numbers, that's for sure. There's still rain falling right now. This is Fox Vision. You can see the storms have all lifted to the north of the valley, and if we zoom on in, there's the picture of around the Phoenix metro. Still some light sprinkles and showers along the 17 up near Cave Creek and kind of running up towards Wickenburg, but the good stuff now is up in the higher elevation. So some thunderstorms rolled through Payson. Remember what I was talking about? That little spin here?
Yeah.
You can actually see. Do you see this? It's so crazy. Oh, my pointer's in green. Wait, let me change the color of this.
Yeah, we can see it. It's almost like the eye of the storm.
Like, yeah, you can see right in this area, right? Like right around here is that spin that's moving up and over, and it's still triggering some storms, some thunderstorms rather, that are in like the Spring Valley area outside of Prescott too. Some storms, and then showers that are just knocking on the door of Flagstaff right now. There's the shot. Let me see. Yeah, of the thunderstorms that just rolled through Spring Valley, Mayer as well, with some good like steady rain. So the next question is obviously like, how's the rest of the day playing out? And it looks like it will still be fairly active for the high country into this afternoon. So here's our future cast. This is 11 a.m. The model pretty much showing what we have right now. So the next hour, so not a lot of change except for it's lifting farther to the north. But then it will start to kind of blossom into some thunderstorms in the afternoon, mostly in like northern Coconino County, potentially around Flagstaff, and over in the eastern edge of the state near the White Mountains as well. Those will have some northward lift into the evening hours before overnight they calm down a bit. And then tomorrow, our storm potential not quite as good for like the valley in the south as today. I think the valley generally stays dry starting tomorrow, but the high country, especially north and east, will still have a chance of storms tomorrow too. And then, of course, aside from the storms, guys, we also have the heat, which is like the other like side of this coin. So there's the look at the extreme heat warnings for today, really just the valley and the edge of southwestern Arizona. But starting Thursday and lasting through the entire weekend, a good chunk of the state is under some type of extreme heat warning. For southern Arizona, it's for Thursday all the way through Sunday, and then below 4,000 feet, parts of Yavapai County, Glen Canyon, Marble Canyon, the Grand Canyon, all under these alerts too. So basically, it's just going to get real hot from here, is what we're looking at.
Celeste, at about somewhere in our 6 a.m. hour, I said, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I do want to see the temp come down into the 80s. And Crystal's like, hold on.
Yeah.
Because there's a storm sweeping into the downtown.
Let's check.
And so I looked at our little
how low did we get?
Corner icon. I saw an 86. I know that's not official, but
let's see.
How low did we get, Ron?
How low? 80
how
anything.
Low?
At any time of day this time of year.
Let's see if I can get it to show me what the low temperature was.
It's like that song, How Low Can You Go?
There you go,
We can't sing it.
85. Your wish is my command, Ron.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That was five extra degrees I wasn't even counting on.
Oh, my goodness.
But I tell you, now, but I guess the question then would be, if it dropped us that extra 5 degrees, but now it's clearing out, is there enough residual to maybe drop the temp a degree or two as the day goes on, or are we still super hot?
Yeah, well, okay, so I have the forecast at 108, but if these clouds hold on much longer, we might have to slice it to like a 106 or something.
Wow.
We should still jump up pretty easily because the clouds are going to break by midday into the afternoon. And once we get that sunshine, the pattern is hot. So we will still be hot, but we will not be as hot as we'll be in a few days. By Friday, our forecast is 116.
Yikes.
Which will likely tie a record, by the way. So at least it's not that bad.
So did that 117 beat a record? Did it make a record on Friday?
Last Friday we broke the record.
We broke the record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that's been cracking me up is we have all these hot days we've been going through lately.
Yes.
And maybe one, maybe two set a new all-time high.
I know.
For
A
those
lot of the
days.
records are at like 118s and 119s this time of the year. So a 117 is still awful, but
yeah,
Right.
it's not the worst. It's not the worst.
Yeah, okay. Well, Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll be keeping an eye on it, that's for sure. Hey, there is one other story we really should mention, Celeste, because of everything that was going on out there in Mesa
Yeah.
late in the day yesterday. Don't know if weather played any kind of a role in it or not, but Sky Fox flew flew overhead. There's a big curve in the railroad tracks right in that industrial area just south of downtown Mesa. We had a derailment that happened there yesterday, and Sky Fox was able to show you what was going on.
It's so wild. We rarely hear of something like this happening in the valley, but yeah, this is a look at that train right there. We're not hearing about any injuries. We haven't heard anything like that, or a potential cause of what happened, but you can see quite a mess and a big area to clean up. And so, of course, this is going to halt some of the transports.
Yes,
you know,
right.
Some of the goods being transported in and out of the valley. But fortunately, we haven't heard of any injuries, so that's the good news.
For once, we're doing a story about a train that doesn't involve an Old West train theft.
Oh my
We've
gosh!
had so many of those going on.
Yeah, where they take sneakers out of the back of the train cars and things like that. It's
Catch
like an
those
Old
guys.
West Bonnie and Clyde.
Exactly. Although I liked Bonnie and Hyde.
Chat my hide, Ron.
That could be Jekyll and Bonnie. I don't know. Hey, here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a break. We're going to give you another rainy part of the USA. Pretty tight view here, but Celeste, it's time to preview our mystery camp.
It is. We see pillars, red bricks. More on this after a quick break.
And Josh Kolsrud next. Is Kohberger going to get a new trial? All right, 10:15, welcome back, Fox 10 Talks. And I do think, Celeste, that a lot of people were pretty shocked when the story came out late in the day yesterday that Bryan Kohberger, who has already admitted guilt, already admitted that he's the killer of the 4 people who died in that apartment building in Moscow, Idaho. So, but he said that, and he's already serving his time, his 4 life sentences, but now he wants to withdraw his guilty plea. It seems like a little late for a change of heart, but he even waived his right to an appeal. So the fact that he's going to try now seems pretty incredible.
Well, it's interesting when you consider what he's claiming, that he could have been coerced into making a certain decision. We have Josh Kolsrud, our legal eagle, here with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know so much about this case. Why is he looking to do this?
Well, first of all, it's not uncommon for a defendant to file a petition for post-conviction relief. In other words, an appeal on a former capital case. So here he's representing himself. Pro per. He is asking for an attorney, but he's saying that I want to get out of the plea because, number one, there's actual evidence that can prove my innocence. For example, the male individual who was murdered, he had in his hand, he grabbed somebody's hair that wasn't Bryan Kohberger's, and they don't know who it belongs to. So he's saying that is exculpatory evidence that could prove his innocence. He's also saying that he's suffering from ineffective assistance of counsel, that they had lied to him about entering into a plea agreement. They said it's okay to lie about your guilt because you're not going to get the death penalty if you sign your name here. But the prosecution's saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. You signed a knowing and intelligent plea agreement where the judge literally asked you are pleading guilty because you are guilty. Isn't that correct? And he goes, yes, I am. He also had to admit to the facts of the case. Although it wasn't elaborate, it was, you entered this residence with the intent to murder, and then went through each and every victim, and he said, yes, I did that.
Wow.
How can you go back against those statements in court? I just don't. I mean, what are the odds? Let's talk about that.
It's very small indeed. The law, especially in criminal cases, really likes finality. And when you have a bargain for process in a plea agreement where you have to admit to the crimes, wrongs, and acts and waive your appeal on a capital case, it would be extraordinary if he was able to get a new trial. But let's say he does. What happens? Well, the death penalty will be back on the table. And, to some of the victims' families, they'd actually like that. They didn't like the fact that the prosecution allowed him to plead guilty and not get the death penalty.
That was pretty controversial.
It was.
How can you believe anything that he says, though, after claiming all these things in the first trial? Let's say he presumptively gets an appeal, and then he shares his story afterwards and says, no, I'm not guilty. I feel like, how can you believe what he's saying?
You can't. And that's what the prosecution said when they were asked a question right after the plea agreement. Why didn't you have a more elaborate factual basis? So a factual basis is what the prosecution and the defense has to show to the court that a defendant actually committed a crime. But it was very bare bones, basically just read the indictment. And they said, well, we would ask him, in what order he killed the victims and for what reasons and all that kind of stuff, but he's just not credible. We can't believe anything he says. And it's the same for judges who read his appeal. So the only way that he can overcome the huge burden is to show corroboration. He has to actually show evidence. He can't just have a change of heart or argue the strength of the evidence. He has to have actual evidence that was unavailable at the time that he took the plea agreement.
So you said something interesting earlier and Ron, did you know that I didn't know this part of the case, but that the man that he allegedly murdered had someone's hair in his hand that was not Kohberger's?
That's correct.
Was it any one of the other victims?
It hasn't been identified, except for they have excluded Kohberger as identification for that hair. So it's not his. It could be somebody else's in the house. It could be a co-defendant. An unnamed co-defendant. A lot of people think that he did have a co-defendant with him, that there were so many things that had to go right to kill 4 people in the timeline that happened and drive away without detection. So a lot of people think that there was somebody else present in the house.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's jump into the next case. And this is a huge case back on the East Coast. I'm not sure everybody's been following it. The man you see right there is a heartbroken.
And you have a mother who certainly suffering at the very least from postpartum depression, but is alleging now that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis, which is very different and much more severe. So Miss Clancy is accused of strangling 3 of her children down in the basement. And then afterwards, talking to her husband briefly and very calmly and cogently, and then calling 911, talking to them for 14 seconds, a very calm, coherent conversation.
And admitting she did it?
Admitting she did it, and then jumped out of the window from a second floor of her house and became a paraplegic. Wow. And that's where we kind of start yesterday, when the trial started. And so now what the jury has to determine isn't, who did it. We all know she did it. But it is what was in her mind at the time she did it. Did she have control of her faculties, or were they substantially diminished to the point where she wasn't responsible for what she was doing? And that's what the jury is going to have to determine in this case.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. It's awful.
Would her actions, as horrible as they were, and then afterwards to jump out of a window, would that not bolster her case that in essence, she was saying she was temporarily insane, right?
Yes and no. I was thinking about that exact question before coming on here. Okay. So, both theories, they make sense under a certain view. Now, if I'm the prosecutor, I'm going to say, look, her jumping out of that second floor building actually proves that she had consciousness of guilt. The only reason why she jumped out of that window is because she wanted to do a murder-suicide. You don't do that if you don't understand the wrongfulness of your actions. Now, the defense is going to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. She's trying to commit suicide here. No one's going to argue that she wasn't. And you have to be out of your mind to try to commit suicide, especially after doing something like that. So they both have good points. And so this is going to be a battle of the experts. You're going to have very well-established experts on both sides looking at the same facts, coming to different conclusions.
We mentioned the husband. Obviously, you mentioned he's going to speak in court on behalf of the prosecution. That has to be tough as well for him to, deal with this whole situation.
Yeah, he obviously loved his wife deeply. And he also adored his children. And he's caught right in the middle. And he is being called by the prosecution mostly to show a timeline of events and to describe what her demeanor was like on the witness stand.
You mentioned 2 quick things. Sorry, Ron, if we're going to wrap. Just one quick question. Earlier we were talking about postpartum depression, which you mentioned, but then there's postpartum psychosis. What's the difference between those two?
Yeah, so postpartum depression is much more common, and it is what it sounds like. You're depressed, and usually people come out of it and without any too much danger or prejudice to the children. However, postpartum psychosis is much more severe, and there are a few cases that have documented infanticide or killing of the children when somebody is suffering from that malady in the brain.
Okay, so the big headline came in yesterday that the president is pushing the Supreme Court to allow, there have been, all kinds of legal challenges, but he wants it to go all the way up to the Supreme Court to put some restrictions on mail-in voting. Here we are in the later part of July. You can understand why he wants an answer. I'm sure everybody wants an answer, all these states, et cetera. But where does that stand, and where do you see it going?
Well, this is a tough case. It's dressed up like it's about the election, but it's much more than that. It's really about the Constitution and who has the power to do what. And every few terms, you have an argument like this that comes before the Supreme Court where they have to establish what the separation of powers are and what they should be. So here, the Trump administration, they filed an appeal to the Supreme Court, and they're not arguing that what they did was legal. They're saying that the Democrats had this position that isn't right yet, that they even allowed to allow the executive order to flourish or for policies to take place. And I'll give you an example. Okay. Let's say that your neighbor is going to build an illegal wall right in front of your house.
Oh.
And you
talking about the Jacksons on the one side? Or
not the
Kaya
Jacksons
on the other side?
No, they would never.
One of them. Go ahead,
They would
Josh.
never do that.
Now you got my finger up.
And you hear about this, through the grapevine. And so in order to stop them from doing it, You go to court and you file an injunction to stop them from building the wall. Okay. And the neighbor's saying, look, you can't stop us yet. We haven't even started. We have to get our permits. We have to get licenses. And all of a sudden, like, you're getting an injunction. It's way too soon for you to do this. So that's what they're saying. The Trump administration is saying it's way too soon for you to file this. It might be illegal. It might not be. This is what they're saying. Okay. And the Democrats are saying, no, this is illegal, and it's harming the states right now. And the Supreme Court is going to have to decide what to do.
Wow.
Which way do you see that case going?
We're too close to the election. I do not see the court changing the rules. There's an old saying, you know, you can't change the rules after the first pitch. And we're way too close to the election. I don't see them changing the rules right before the midterms in November.
Wow.
All right.
We love a good baseball analogy around here. We're all big D-backs fans. They're right on the edge of the playoffs.
Yes,
right now,
we do. Josh, it's good to see you, my
good
friend.
To see you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, great stuff.
We covered 3 big cases.
Huge cases.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
Okay, so we have so much coming up for you in the next little while. Celeste, we have a poll question. We're going to get it to you in just a moment. You'll hear some of the highlights of the really touching memorial service this morning at the Capitol for Lindsey Graham. And it's looking like Cracker Barrel has finally gotten fed up with the boss, and she's out the door, Celeste.
I know. She's going to be probably on Indeed looking for a new gig. In the meantime, this is your Mystery Cam, and go ahead and post your guesses in the chat, and we'll have your answer after the break.
All right, Celeste, I believe we're getting some guesses in for the old Mystery Cam.
Yes, we are. So we've got New Hampshire from Louis Gonzalez.
I always like to say New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
North Carolina. from Lil Philosophy.
Okay.
We've got Virginia from JTT, which I think, are you a new chatter this morning? Welcome to the chat,
Hey,
JT.
JTT.
Yeah.
This is not the Jonathan Taylor Thomas movie star guy.
Oh, maybe, Ron.
I don't know.
Wow, we're reaching new heights.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
With our
my
viewers.
daughters, they had such a crush on that guy.
Wow.
Anyway, let's see. So
Anyway.
Juliet is on this morning. We got a lot of new people watching today. That's fantastic. She likes Pennsylvania. Outlaw likes Georgia. And it's fantastic. So
Jennifer says, "What the? You can't tell where this is."
This does look kind of southern to me, but I don't know if we go into the Carolinas or Georgia or Bama or whatever. So what are you going to do, Celeste?
I think I'm going to go with an Alabama.
Also, here's another chatter. Sea Dog is joining us. He's saying Bama. Oh, you said Bama?
I said Bama
you said
too,
Bama.
yeah.
Okay, I'll go Georgia. Somewhere in that region.
Oh, and here is the answer to your mystery camera. Roxborough, North Carolina.
Oh, we missed it. Roxborough, huh?
Yeah. It does look very North Carolina-ish, though.
You know, we're so used to driving on our grid system here where all the roads go either north and south or east and west.
Yeah.
That all these curvy roads, it's like we're not used to that.
No, I mean we're the easygoing people, the smart people, just north, south, east, west.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't have that many curvy roads around here.
All right, let's look at our poll question this morning. Cancel the August break, which they're right on the verge of, until they pass the Save America Act. 65% are saying, yeah, it's too important. Keep them there until they pass it. Mm-hmm. And most of the rest, almost 35%, are saying, no, the Save America Act is actually a bad idea. 1% say it really doesn't matter. They could stay the whole month and it would never pass because they don't seem to do very much.
I know. This is such a good question today because we've got 1.5 thousand votes in just the last hour. This could be a potential, poll requeue on this, Ron, because, cancel Congress August break until they pass the Save America Act. 53% say yes, it's just too important. 38% say no. I think we have some alignment here between our two polls.
Which is odd.
It is very odd.
Yeah.
So most of the guesses and the choices, I guess you could say, on YouTube is our audience on YouTube, obviously, because you got to vote. The link is in the chat, by the way, if you want to vote.
Celeste, will you see my, look at the button that I'm about to push here. Normally it says Dave. See what it says today?
It says abs with one B. I was thinking it was
Abs.
auto brake system. That's what I think of.
Automatic braking system.
ABS means.
I don't know. It means abs, which is short for Abby. Do you have an automatic braking system in your vehicle?
No.
Do you have strong abs? Maybe she has strong abs.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe.
We know she can do a handstand, Ron, and like a cartwheel.
She did
It's a
one
front walkover.
right in
Yes.
our green room. Anyway, what are you seeing for comments?
All right, so right now we have over 100 comments on YouTube.
Wow.
We're seeing Doobie Dave 9686 says, I agree that all breaks for Congress should be canceled until they pass legislation that actually helps American families and not special interest groups. Pain and Motivation says Congress has more breaks than the average worker. And Chris Howard 6169 says, pay them like us regular working Americans. You only get paid while you are working, and make them pay health care like the rest of us. No more free rides. So yeah, a lot of interesting takes here on YouTube. You guys can go to our chat and click the link and contribute your comments.
I think that's interesting. I think it's a great concept.
Yes, right.
They should have to do the work. They were hired for a job.
Yeah.
And we're the boss. We're the bosses.
They forget that. They do forget that,
Our
Celeste.
taxes are paying, Ron.
Speaking of Congress, Capitol Hill, etc., pretty touching morning as they gathered in the rotunda to remember Lindsey Graham.
He told things the way he saw them, and he didn't mince words. But lest anyone think it was all work and no levity with Lindsey, let me just say that there was no one who took his job more seriously than Lindsey Graham. But also no one was more capable of cracking up a room.
he was fascinated in people because he loved people and he was interested in them. He was the kind of guy who would walk into the Senate. And when he walked into the Senate, this was a guy who couldn't have stood more than 5'6" or 5'7", but he'd swashbuckle in with his jacket open like he was 6'5". He had an attitude to him, and it's one of the reasons why Lindsey Graham was Lindsey Graham. But he would walk into the United States Senate, and he would slap you on the back. He would greet the person who served his food. He treated everybody the same because he was fascinated and he loved every single person in this chamber. And that's a great testament to the man.
So then they did bring the casket down very slowly in remembrance of Senator Graham down the steps of the Capitol, got it placed into the hearse, and then drove off because we know they are headed to the National Cathedral. And I believe we're going to have on our other YouTube channel, starting here in about a half hour, we're going to have a lot of live coverage from the National Cathedral for the main funeral service. So that will be coming up later today. All of those really big headlines coming out of Washington.
Yeah. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
We're going to shift gears now and talk about inflation. I mean, it's the number one topic on most people's minds.
Absolutely,
I really think.
It is.
And so we actually have a chance right now to talk to somebody who knows what's going on. This is Lorelei Salas, who is, by the way, a former official with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for your time. The first thing I thought of was, are you a fan of Gilmore Girls, since your name's Lorelei?
Have you ever watched Gilmore Girls? Is that like on
I have watched it.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
so she knew. It's a very popular show, for sure. Give us your thoughts on kind of where we sit when it comes to the economy. I think it is on the brain when it comes to Americans, and how we're going to put food on the table or fill up our gas tanks. It seems very volatile right now.
It absolutely is. With the war in Iran and the potential agreement that we had in place momentarily, we saw the prices starting to go down a little bit on gas and diesel, but unfortunately, prices are up again. In Phoenix, they're about $4.44 per gallon, which is a bit higher than the national average, but still $1 higher than we were paying before the war. And so I think American families have seen a very extensive summer so far. And as kids start getting ready to go back to school in a few weeks, we are seeing the price of school supplies higher by about 10% than we had last year. And so with the war and with the recently reissued tariffs last Friday, I think we can anticipate to be paying more money for basic goods for the next or for the immediate future.
Well, it's interesting because the Federal Reserve's meeting right now, as a matter of fact, both today and tomorrow. We'll find out which direction they decide to take interest rates, or maybe they leave it alone. But we ran a poll yesterday on asking people to predict, do you think next year in the economy will be better or worse? We got a lot of thousands of votes, but a lot of people were at least hopeful that, I guess they're kind of taking the attitude, it can't get a whole lot worse. I mean, we've been dealing with this inflation for years.
Yeah.
What would really need to happen, though, to bring some good news?
I do think we need to have very, very urgent domestic policies that address the problem, the crisis of affordability for American families here. We are seeing that the household debt, is increasing, is approaching $20 trillion. That's according to a recent Fed report. And people are having to put basic goods on the credit card and use products like buy now, pay later to pay for groceries, for medicine, for gas, even to pay for rent. So urgent attention is needed to the lives of people in this country, to the small businesses and the household budgets that are suffering.
You know, I think for a lot of Americans, too, it's hard to see the end of it, because I think you hear of conversations and negotiations happening and it's moving in a positive direction, and then nothing happens, and then it backtracks. And what kind of words of wisdom, Lorelei, can you give us in terms of kind of how you've studied some of these long-term negotiations and situations, how we can keep hope maybe that at least, you know, something positive is on the horizon somewhere, some place?
Yeah, it's a difficult time for working people, because for those of us who are relying on our salaries or savings, it's just the dollars, you cannot stretch the money any longer, right? But for folks who really are already very financially stable and have investments, so those folks are not really seeing the impact of the economy today. So I think that I want to be optimistic. People want to be optimistic around the country. We have elections coming up in November, and it's a time to use your vote to make sure that folks that are representing you in Congress are paying attention to the problems that Americans are feeling every day today. So I do think, elections will be an important time this year for us. They always are, but specifically now, I think folks are going to be speaking loudly because they're feeling it in their homes, in their budgets, and it's time that the administration pay attention to the financial instability that we're feeling.
Okay, great. Well, we appreciate your time, all that experience you had with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Yes.
You've got some good insight for sure.
Thank you so much, Lorelei.
You're welcome.
Have a great day. Ron, I found the video of Abby, by the way.
Oh, well, you have to send it to Jeff, and then we can...
Oh, yeah, I'll send it. Oh,
wait. What's happening? Oh.
Abby, are you going to do a handstand again?
Here's what happened. Was it Thomas, or who was it, Celeste, that got on and said, all I heard in the last segment was handstand?
Oh, it was Joshua Tovar. He goes, all I heard was handstand. So I found the video, Abs. I'm going to send it to Jeff and see if we can bring it on at the end of the show.
Look at that. We still have 19 minutes, so
I also reposted it on my Instagram at Celeste Fox 10 if you want to check it out.
All right, so here is what's coming up next on FTT. Did you hear about the Cracker Barrel main lady in charge there?
Oh.
Out the door. That didn't work out very well, that's for sure. We're also going to be talking about why fans of Prince should be very excited. And you can buy Colonel Sanders' house. Maybe there's still some chicken in there somewhere cooking on the pot.
Sounds good, Ron. Smells good. We'll be right back.
It's Fox 10 Talks. That is the Cabell County Courthouse in West Virginia, Huntington, West Virginia. Celeste, such a beautiful part of the USA.
The courthouse is the one with the gold dome?
Yes.
Wow, that's a beautiful building. It's very like Art Deco-ish, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of buildings or a lot of cities want to build new buildings all the time, and we're doing that constantly here in Phoenix. But this, I like the more historic feel of this town. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Now, if you go down to Tennessee, not too far away from there, Celeste, you will find the headquarters for Cracker Barrel, the old country restaurant, and possibly their most controversial boss they've ever had there is out the door, Julie Massino. It was a rough year for her. And by the way, the former CEO of Bloomin' Brands, David Deno, is going to take over the role. It comes after all the social media backlash when she tried to modernize the look. And the next thing you know, people are like, there's one reason we like Cracker Barrel. We like the old-fashioned feel of the country store that you wander through with all the kitschy stuff.
Yes.
And then the home-cooked meals. I mean, I know they're not home-cooked, but they almost taste like it with the mashed potatoes and the green beans and the corn.
Well, and I just think they have like a little market where you can get some very cutesy, like my mom got me a set of 4 mugs that were like love, joy, faith, on a, like they have some really unique little boutique-y items in there, and you're grabbing your breakfast, and it's unfortunate. I think they brought in, and you and I were chatting about this earlier this morning, they brought in this new leader thinking, like, hey, let's see what we can do for our business, but they just took it a little too far. I think there's a lot they can do without changing the logo.
Make it too bland and just kind of move totally away from what you're known for.
Yeah, I wonder if they did you think they did focus groups?
Probably.
That was a big mistake.
Well, anyway, so they got a new boss, and they already announced that they're going to stay there. We have one. I go past it all the time. It's on the 60, the Superstition at Higley Road. And I say to myself, I'm going to go in there and have a meal. But the problem is there's a Dairy Queen right across the street.
You never make it?
And I always pull in there. Celeste, let's just talk a little bit more about some of our other big stories this morning.
Yes.
Because did you know it was on this day in history? To me, this is really rather amazing. So many people don't even know that this happened. It was really a sad story. It was a shocking story at the time it happened, and it was on this day all the way back in the 1940s. The bomber that crashed into the Empire State Building. Wow. How, people wondered, how could that have even been possible? Well, here's the story in a nutshell. So, here's today's history story.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this. So
it was a B-25 Mitchell bomber, and it was right at the end of World War II. It was July 28th, 1945. Japan would surrender about 2 weeks later. So sad to say there was still some activity going on there that a lieutenant colonel by the name of William Frank Smith Jr. was piloting it, but there was some very thick fog over New York City that morning, got disoriented, and crashed into the Empire State Building. I've talked to people who grew up on the East Coast and don't even know that this happened.
Wow.
Look at the inside of the Empire State Building.
What year was this again, Ron?
1945,
wow.
2 weeks before the war ended. 78th, 79th, and 80th floors. But Celeste,
yes,
there's always, maybe if you look hard enough, a silver lining to stories like this. There was a lady, her name was Betty Lou Oliver, and she was the elevator operator at the Empire State Building. She survived an incredible 75-story fall in the elevator caused by the crash.
Wow.
So basically, the whole situation was that she was not in her elevator at the moment of the crash, but somebody made a bad decision. After she was injured, they put her in the elevator to go downstairs to get medical help. Well, the power was all cattywampus in there, and it had severed the elevator cables. They put her in there, and the next thing you know, she's free falling 75 stories, Celeste. And she survived. Just incredible. Betty Lou Oliver. And by the way, she did have a lot of injuries, but still she lived. may very well be the greatest story of survival
Betty
in American history.
Lou.
Yeah. And she went on to live, she lived to almost age 80, had a bunch of grandkids, lived in Arkansas, and
What a
by all intents
story.
and purposes, she was extremely fortunate.
She was,
that
and
she survived.
they don't make them like that anymore, Ron. Tough lady.
Honestly, well, we don't have elevator operators, that's for sure
true.
anymore. Okay, so Celeste, did you like Prince's music when he was out there cranking out the hits?
Well, I remember as a kid watching that movie Purple Rain.
Oh, yes.
You remember that? It was a movie.
Yeah.
It was a movie.
I love Purple Rain.
And I remember him on the back of the motorcycle.
Yeah,
and
with
he's,
that superstar. What was her name?
Oh, was it? I don't know. I'm going to find out.
I'm asking because I know. Apollonia.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was, if you ask me,
What a name.
she was more the star of that.
Oh my gosh, was she ever? They both had great hair.
Yeah. So the thing about it is that they've just announced, and if you're a Prince fan, you're going to love this. They're going to take the movie Purple Rain, which I can't believe this goes back to 1984. That's incredible. It's more than 40 years old.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd still be fun to watch, but they say that they're going to take the story and bring it to Broadway. They're expecting it'll be a mega hit, and it's going to premiere next spring.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that so great?
And let his music live again on a stage there.
And tickets are going to actually go on sale here in just a few more weeks. They'll announce the casting pretty soon, but it has an opening date of April the 12th of next year.
Wow. You got to plan ahead for something like that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, people love their Broadway shows. Those tickets, they sell out.
Yeah, they do. And I think this is going to be pretty big. But here's what's really cool is if you are a fan of Prince, you got to go to the Twin Cities, to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
You can go out to Chanhassen, which is where he lived, his recording studio / mega mansion.
Didn't they find a bunch of music he did not release?
Yes.
Yeah, inside his music studio or somewhere on his property.
And then there are scenes in the movie from inside a music venue that he loved, kind of a hole-in-the-wall place, right in downtown Minnesota. So, Celeste, check it out. When I was there, they have these murals up for Prince because he's still beloved in that community.
If you had moved slightly left of right here, you could have kind of hunched down, and that guy's hairdo, you could have put it on your head.
Yeah, I could have, as a matter of fact. By the way, that's right. I believe that's the parking garage for the Target Field with the Twins, because I ran across this after I went to a Minnesota Twins game.
What a great mural. That's beautiful work of art. Look at Ron, we're getting hearts right now on YouTube because people are loving your gun show and they're loving the mural.
Okay, thank you, everybody. But I will just say the thing about downtown Minneapolis that I thought was so cool is they embrace their celebrities, because a lot of them came out of the Twin Cities. Did you ever watch the old Mary Tyler Moore show?
Oh, I used to love that show.
Yeah. You're gonna make it after all.
Yes.
So the statue, they put a statue up where you could actually, where the shot at the opening where she throws her little hat up into the air.
Yeah.
There's a statue there. And here's one other thing that's really cool. Look at this. There's also a mural for the other music legend from Minnesota, and that is Bob Dylan.
Wow. Did you see his biopic? That was really well done.
No.
I had no idea he was such a kind of like a very quiet introvert.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, he really was. And it was interesting because you automatically, when you see some people on stage, you think, oh, they must be an extrovert to do what they do. Right. But he just loved music and loved creating it and singing it. He wasn't really an extrovert, so he was actually quite uncomfortable around big crowds.
I really felt lucky, Celeste, the day that I was going through, and I know I talked to you on the show that day, but the guy that owns the house where Bob Dylan grew up, he has a sign out front. It just depends on whether he's around or whatever. It says, if you want a tour, just call my number. He came right over from next door and said, I'll take you through. I'm going down into the basement of Bob Dylan's house.
So
and
amazing.
You get to go upstairs, to his bedroom. And his dad owned an appliance store, so he had like one of the earliest black and white TVs. It's just sitting right there on the dresser.
Awesome.
Like he left 5 minutes ago. And down in the basement, remember when parents used to do this? They would take a pencil. Every year they would mark you on the door sill.
We do that in our house.
Do you still?
We do,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I saw Bob Dylan's.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Down in the basement.
Oh, handstand is in, Ron. We've
All right,
got
ladies
the
and gentlemen,
video.
we've waited long enough. We're out here in the kind of the green room area.
Mm-hmm.
Ready? So Celeste, set us up here.
All right. So we finish up the show. This is right about 11:01, and we're in our green room area. And this is the interaction with
Here
the
we
three
go.
of us.
Abby's handstand. Roll it. So I'm just saying, yeah, we had a great show. And then somehow, Celeste, you bring Abby over.
Yeah, so then Abby's right there. And,
Oh, here we go.
oh.
Oh, I don't go for that.
Okay, we probably should kill the sound. I don't know what happened. Okay, so anyways, then we're asking Abby, how you doing? She's like, I'm doing pretty good.
And what does she do after a really great show?
She does a handstand.
At least she did on this day. Ready? Here it comes. We're laughing about it.
Yeah, and Ron's like, all right, everyone, get ready for it. Here she comes. Drum roll, please. And she's like, yeah, I can do a handstand and a flip with it, Ron.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Here we go.
I said, all right, Abs, do it right here, girl.
Okay.
And she's like, give me some
Clear
room.
the area.
With grace and ease, everyone.
Wow.
Yes.
Abby, were you a gymnast in school?
I did gymnastics, I did cheerleading, I did dance.
Wow.
That's so great.
It is. So Graham is sitting right next to her. Graham, are you next with the handstand?
No.
Well, that's the only way we bring people into the circle of trust. You got to do at least one handstand.
At least. Abby, great job. By the way, that's on my Instagram at Celeste Fox 10 if you want to see it again.
Hey, just real quick, since we've been talking about it all morning, if you want to buy Colonel Sanders' house, here it is. There's the Colonel himself, Celeste. And now we learn it is up for sale in Shelbyville, Kentucky, or Tennessee. No, Kentucky. So it's a 5,000 square foot residence. And also included is the Claudia Sanders dinner house. Look at this. You could own that whole estate.
Wow, look at that. Wow, that's the house?
Yeah, plus the dinner house, the big restaurant there. And so sealed bids for the restaurant and the residence are accepted now through Friday. How about that?
That is, look at the inside, Ron. That
Amazing.
staircase. Thank you for watching, everyone. Anita and Irene and Crystal are next talking about your weather. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hi, everyone. The Blondes Who Babble are back.
Back again, all three of us.
There we go.
Hello.
Tell a friend.
2 days in a row, right?
You were out in the rain. You were covering the rain. I was watching the roads. What a fantastic storm.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was busy out there this morning.
At home, if you guys got rain, let us know where you are and tell us what it looked like, because we'd love to talk a little bit about it. But we're getting right to the weather maps.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk rain.
Let's do
because
that.
It's still raining in parts
It's
of the
still
state.
raining?
Not in the valley,
Oh my
but up in the
gosh.
high country it is. So this is the view from Flagstaff. Looking out of the peaks, and you can see that rain coming on down. I should have, if I had thought about it, I should have popped up the snowball cam. I bet they've got
Can
good
I do
rain.
that?
No, I have to do it on a separate computer. But it does look pretty good up there on the mountain. You can see the rain that's coming on down. So there's the view from Flag. Then this is the view from Sedona, and it's a little hard to tell, but do you see the little flex?
No, I see it.
It is raining right
It's
now.
raining, yeah.
So,
Actively.
overall, it's actually been a pretty beneficial rain, too. There's been periods where it's gotten heavier around the state, but for the most part, it's just been the kind of rain we like to see, which is not causing any flooding. There's been no severe thunderstorm warnings. There's been no flash flood warnings. There was one flood advisory early this morning up near Globe, and that's pretty much been it. So it's always good when I don't have to cover a bunch of warnings and alerts. Now, what we're looking at currently is that most of the weather has lifted north of the valley, and we are truly now in like our drying spell. There's a low chance of like a stray shower through midday or so, but for the most part, the moisture now runs north of the valley, and that's where storm chances will remain later today, and actually again tomorrow afternoon too. It'll be for north and east parts of the state. But here's the view from radar. Those storms that are rolling right into Prescott as we speak. Couple of lightning bolts showing off on the radar map there. So there is some rumbles of thunder as this is rolling along. Otherwise, rain running sort of like perfectly aligned with 17. And then you see there's also these storms that are running up to the north from in between CBQ and Young to in between Payson and Heber, and then running right on through to like Munns Park, Mormon Lake, and up into Flagstaff as well. Again, same deal. There's some pockets of thunderstorms in here with some lightning strikes, but no alerts. Just a little bit of briefly steady to heavier rain, and then a couple areas where the thunderstorms are rolling on by. But I love some rumbles of thunder when there's no damage to come with it.
We could hear
it's
it.
The best.
We could hear it in the studio. It was just before, so like 6:45.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at first I thought, is that what I'm hearing? Is there a little bit of construction? You could hear, and then there was a little bit of a flash in some of the equipment.
Yeah, we had a little power bump, I think, in the building because of probably a lightning strike hit one of our towers or something. There was a lot of lightning when it was rolling
We
through.
saw that out in the field today. There was so much lightning.
Where were you? Were you
Yeah.
at Pretty Glass View?
That was with APS.
Oh, with APS.
Yeah, it was
yes.
on the 16th floor, and I'm like, you could totally see all the lightning from that view. It was incredible.
You were
really.
keeping count of the lightning. Are you able to show us any of those graphics?
So the way that our radar works is we can count as it's rolling through, so I can't pull it up now.
Oh, okay.
But the main thunderstorm that rolled through the East Valley and then up into like South Scottsdale and into Midtown before it fizzled out, that one was pulling about like 40 strikes I think it counts every 15 minutes, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty energetic, and then it weakened as it hit the West Valley, and just like that, the lightning was gone. But it was a good storm that rolled through. If you want to pop back up our look at our future cast, we'll go from the radar to what's happening next, which is, through the afternoon. So the storms we have continue to lift north, and they may fire off into some stronger storms as the afternoon heating takes hold and you hit the higher elevations. So we're seeing like northern Coconino County, parts of the White Mountains with some thunderstorms, and then those roll up and into like the northeast part of the state through this evening before everything should kind of fizzle overnight. And then tomorrow morning, this model does have like a sprinkle out west, otherwise not a lot going on tomorrow morning, but in the afternoon, again, north and east parts of the state will have a chance of some thunderstorms to develop. I showed this in the last hour, but I'll show it again as a reminder that those extreme heat warnings are in place, even with the rain and clouds this morning for the valley and far southwestern Arizona today, tomorrow. But then starting Thursday, a good chunk of the state is under an extreme heat warning because temperatures get brutal as we head into the weekend. As we know, Friday and Saturday here, the forecast is 116 each day. It's because of a dome of high pressure. This ridge, this is the time of year where this is where it wobbles about. So this is pretty normal, but when it caps on top of us, so basically when we become the center point beneath the H, that's when we get our hottest temperatures. So you can see it's not today, it's not tomorrow, it's not even really Thursday, but by Friday and into Saturday, suddenly we're right beneath
There's
it.
a weekend to get out of here. It might be this one.
Yes, that
Only
would
because you
not
are
be a
getting
bad
out of here
thing.
for the
That's why I'm
weekend.
like,
She's
yes,
bragging.
No, 116.
So take a look. This is the 10-day forecast, guys, and you can see that the number goes from at best 108 today, though again, if these clouds take much longer to clear, we might struggle to even get to 108. 108, and then we'll get up to 113 by Thursday, and there's that 116 Friday, Saturday, Sundays at 115, and it's not until the following week that we'll see a little better chance again for monsoonal action to take grip again. That'll drop us below 110, but that's a little ways away. So
we have a couple comments in the chat saying,
sure.
"Uh-oh, here comes the sun."
Yeah.
It happens. It happens. It's rare that we see a full day of all the clouds and the rain, but it's been fantastic.
This morning's been nice.
Yeah.
A little cooler. It's nice to stand out in the field. Brian Acosta and I, my photographer, were talking. We're like, this was a pretty nice morning. We got to stand outside, do our live shots. A little windy.
We're like sweating.
But we're
to
not
death.
like baking or sweating the whole time.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks, guys.
it.
Thanks,
We're going to
Crystal.
move on to what you're reading on this Tuesday morning. A couple of things that we have on the website that everyone is looking at. Our top stories. Loved ones remember a Phoenix hiker who was found dead on South Mountain during extreme heat warning. This is Richard Stan Fletcher, 61 years old. They believe that he was a very experienced hiker, and he died this past weekend on South Mountain during an extreme heat warning. He left right around 5 a.m., and they lost contact with him about 2 p.m. His phone battery died. His body later found by a cyclist along the Pima Canyon Trail. And so they are going to determine official cause of death, but they do believe it was either some type of medical emergency or heat related.
And then our next story is about a Tinder date gone wrong. You know, online dating is so popular these days. Imagine this scenario. It was a man from the Villages. He was arrested for allegedly chasing his Tinder date and her 3 friends in his pickup truck. That was after the date ended early because of a monetary dispute. I don't know if that was splitting the bill or what that was, but deputies said it was 67-year-old David O'Brien. He rammed the group's car twice, causing it to crash into a pole, and also holding one of the friends at gunpoint, threatening to kill him.
Last story that you guys are reading on our website. 2 bodies found July 25th inside an apartment near 27th and Glen Rosa Avenues. Victims haven't been identified. Cause of death is unclear. So Silent Witness is now stepping up, and they're asking anyone who may have any information to give them a call. I'm going to play this video for you guys because you're probably going to recognize what you're seeing. This is FIFA World Cup, and that beautiful young lady there is Ella, and she is our guest today. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You performed with the one and only Shakira.
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh, so excited.
How did that come to be?
Oh my goodness, it was a whole journey. It was incredible. So it actually started, I was in a program with Menina Fortunato. She has a Business of Dance program, and she introduced me to this dancer, content creator, Enola Bedard. She makes all these type of concept videos. It was actually Enola's idea to make a Shakira concept video to the Die Die song. That's her famous World Cup song now.
So what does that mean, a concept video?
It's just like, it was just kind of us dancing to the song.
Okay.
We did a lot of different shots. We actually shot it out at Santa Monica Pier.
How fun.
Yeah, we just did it on
Nice
the
and
pier.
close to the mic for me,
Oh yeah, sorry
sweetheart.
about that.
Thank you. Yeah, there we go. Now we can hear you better. I'm going to play the video. You keep talking over it.
Yeah, so we went and we danced out and by the pier, and then Shakira actually saw us perform in that video, and she posted it on her Instagram story and said, "Hey girls, you'd be perfect to dance with me at the finale."
No.
And then her team was emailing us, and they flied us out, and we got to rehearse with her. Yeah, that's us right now.
I have to
With a
challenge
photo
you
with
right
her.
now. I see.
Yeah.
You're standing right there behind her.
Yes. We got to meet her like all the time. Her team was incredible with us, and we just rehearsed all the time. We got to perform at the World Cup with her. It was incredible. We met other celebrities like Post Malone, which is up there.
Oh my gosh, what was he like?
He was nice. I didn't get to talk to him too much, but we asked to take a photo. He's like, sure. They're all just hanging out around there. It was so
Ella,
cool.
how long have you been dancing?
Honestly, my entire life. I started when I was like 2 years old. But yeah, this has been my...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But what was that moment like when you got that Instagram message back, or however they contacted you? I mean, you know, just getting that kind of message, what went through your mind?
It was pure excitement. I was almost trying not to be too excited because it was just through Instagram. I was like, this is not real. I didn't believe it. I was wondering, maybe did she just was gonna just post a ton of people?
Right.
But it was they emailed us. When I got that email, I actually got one of the emails on my birthday, which is such a cool surprise.
wow.
The team emailed that they had our flights and everything, and we were So
surreal.
insane.
So, how far in advance were you given the routine, and when did you start practicing? When did you actually get to do a run through, like on the field with Shakira? Because all of that has to come together in so many different parts.
Yeah, exactly. So since she had that Die Die viral song and her music video, everyone that was posting these videos learned the choreography to the best of their abilities. So we kind of knew the choreography, but when we got flown out, we had a week of rehearsals with her team and her choreographers, such as Charm LaDonna, who is such a big inspiration of mine, and she was the creative director of the show. And we just got to kind of practice with Shakira. She was there the whole time, such a hard worker. It was incredible.
And Shakira is, of course, very iconic, a connection with the World Cup, that Africa song everyone thinks of when they think of FIFA.
She's always
Were you a big soccer fan before this? Did you know of kind of that connection?
I'm not a huge. I need to get more.
I think we're all soccer fans now.
Now we are.
Everything that we've seen, right?
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate the sport, of course. It was so cool. Actually, the Argentina players were staying at our hotel, which was insane. And we actually, when we came out of the same tunnel that they came into after in the middle of the halftime, we got to see them. It was crazy. I mean, I know they just worked so incredibly hard, and it's so amazing that was their whole moment was leading up to that. It was also the finals that I got to perform at, so it was like the big one.
We have about 30 seconds left. What's next for you then? How do you beat this?
I don't know. I'm hoping that this can get me somewhere. I'm just going to keep dancing and see what's next for me out in LA. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, how exciting. Well, the best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
We hope you come back and visit.
Thank you so much.
And have more really big stories to tell.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, there you are right there, walking through.
So exciting.
Thank you so much.
Know. Thank you, Ella. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys, we're going to move on to really, even though we have fantastic guests and great stories that they tell, our absolute favorite portion of the show, which is what year was it? So the big question today on this Tuesday, In God We Trust, legally becomes the national motto for the U.S. I'm going to look at Glenn, our director, because he's really smart.
With history, okay.
And see if maybe he can give me a clue. He's shaking his head no.
Yeah, he doesn't know either.
I have no idea. I
We
should
gotta
know.
give our best guess. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
No, I have zero clue.
I'll just say like 1805 or something.
18,
like
you're
that.
going that far back.
I don't know. I'm trying to think like with the U.S. dollar.
I'm going to say like 1950.
Okay, I was going way farther back than you. I don't know.
So, well, we'll see what happens, you guys. No Googling. Be fair. And go ahead and guess. We want to see your guesses. We're going to take a quick break and we'll talk about it. Okay, welcome back in, everyone. Behind the camera, what you don't see is that we have 2 new guests who have joined us. Gentlemen from the Drone Zone, they're going to make a guess as well. So the question, what year was it? In God We Trust legally becomes the national motto for the U.S. I guessed 1950s.
Okay.
Irene guessed.
I said the 1800s, like
1800s.
just because the dollar bill.
The dollar bill.
thinking.
BK.
I'm going to say 1920.
1920.
And I'm going to say 1917.
1917.
Pretty close.
The official answer is.
It's that late?
Nita.
So you got
Really?
You won.
I
This was Price is Right.
And I really truly had absolutely no idea on this one. We had really good guesses in the chat. 1820, 1776, 1787, 1950. Jennifer got it pretty dang close. 1785, 1919. Good stuff, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
was fun.
stuff.
It's only 7 years.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and introduce the Drone Zone, guys. We're going to show some video and talk about the Drone Zone.
Okay, we're here. We're promoting our ultimate summer adventure. The Drone Zone is showing you guys how to cool off in the Arizona heat.
Oh,
That's tough.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second, though, because there are rules when you fly that
There
drone.
are rules.
Okay.
Summer is a bad time to be a drone pilot in Arizona. Let's just say that. Would you say that?
It's very hot.
What are the
Yeah.
rules?
Well, it actually deals with temperature primarily. So when it reaches 104 degrees, we are grounded. We are done.
Yeah. That's when we call it.
Yeah.
104.
104.
So it is, what is it right now, 96. So you'd be clear to fly.
Okay, right now.
But normally on a normal day without any rain, it's like pretty much 10 a.m. is the cutoff for us because that's pretty much 104 at 10 a.m. So once it reaches 104, we are done for the day.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's just not worth it because the temperature could cause all sorts of problems, like internal stuff with the drone
Battery.
fan working too hard, the battery, so just got to cap it at 104.
You put out a great video last week on your Instagram, a couple series of what does a drone sound like?
Yes, yeah.
What does a drone sound like to you, Irene? Can you?
Almost like a zzz. I'm trying to make this sound right.
I think Rick Davis won on that.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look.
We should show that. Oh, man.
We should.
But check it out at BK_Drone Zone on Instagram.
But what would a drone sound like in this heat?
Oh, it'd be working overtime.
Be like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
But how does that work for your schedules? You guys usually come in a lot later than us, like around 9 or so.
Right,
You only
yeah.
have, an hour to fly the drone? Do you come in earlier? How do you do that?
Well, if we're droning in the summer, if we're going up north, temperatures could
Yeah.
be at least 20 degrees cooler. So that helps out if we're doing that. But if we're droning in the valley in Phoenix, then yeah, we have to get in a little bit earlier to get those shots because we have limited time. Because like Joe said, the last couple days this last week, by 10 o'clock, it was like 104, 105, 106. Went up all the way to 115 a couple days. So yeah, no way.
Probably up until November, December-ish, that's pretty much going to be our lives going forward. But now we're on the lake.
We're on the lake, yeah. One of the perfect spots to cool off during the summer heat. That's Canyon Lake. We went there. We droned the Yak and Sup tours where you can do stand-up paddle boards and canoeing.
Wow,
So
that is
fun.
gorgeous.
Yeah. And we followed the tour group around the lake, got some great shots, put together a good piece, and that we're featuring that in our ultimate summer adventure, just to kind of show people there are places here to cool off when it is, over 115 degrees.
To beat the heat.
It's the perfect spot.
How nervous do you guys get flying over water? I mean, I think anytime I'm a VO, which is a visual observer.
Yeah.
Are you a VO
Yeah,
as
both
well?
you guys VOs.
So we have to go through this extensive training. We have to ask you guys questions like, did you get 8 hours of sleep? Did you drink? Did you take medication?
Right.
Did you eat breakfast?
Your breakfast, yeah.
Do you feel okay? Like, we really have to do this checklist to make
Right.
sure before you're going
Just
up.
to make sure we're all good.
And then we have
battery
to
life?
watch the drone,
Yes.
which always makes me nervous because it's so easy to lose sight, especially when you're really high up. So, but how nervous do you guys get, whether it's like over a mountain or especially over the water? Because if that thing goes down,
I have no problem droning over water. I guess we've done it so many times.
Right.
You just have to be a little more aware of especially when you're coming down, because sometimes it can looks can be deceiving.
Yeah.
So, but as actually flying over water, it's all good, and we've done it a lot of times, so we're very experienced. But it's just the part of coming down, you have to watch where you're.
you have to find a good landing spot, right?
And you don't want to be get too low of a shot because You're
Because
in the water.
Waves, bounces, so you have to be careful. You don't want
And the wind.
Right.
We're getting some comments and questions. So
Okay.
Charles David, 5137, is asking about air density. Do you guys look into that? Do you measure? Do you worry about it? We have Lil Philosophy asking how much the drones cost. And someone else is just saying that they love your drone shots, you guys. That's Linda.
That's Linda Monty. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know that you have to put in like a full report and
Right.
get permission to fly before you do so.
Right. But as far as the expense, the drones that we have, the drones that pretty much about $4,000, and then we have a controller. You add another $1,000 onto that, so you're in at least over $5,000.
These, and your drones are pretty good-sized drones.
Yeah, we have a full-size drone.
And how many drones do we have on the team here?
4.
Four of them.
Okay.
Yeah, we have about like 5 or 6 older ones that
don't fly anymore.
They're out of commission.
Right.
They're in the museum, in the drone zone room.
We have a drone zone museum.
We should do a drone zone room tour.
Oh, that would be
and
a
show all
great
a museum
segment.
tour. Yeah.
The old retired drones.
Yes.
How long did it take both of you before you felt really comfortable droning like over water or in some of these more challenging circumstances?
I think it just takes a couple flights, really. I mean, water it's a little different because you do have to pay more attention to your height, and it is deceiving because if there's mountains, like at Canyon Lake, you have the mountains, so you got to make sure you know where you are with the drone, and then you got to watch your battery level because you want to make sure you can bring that drone back before you run out of battery, and then if you're over water when you run out of battery, then
you're done.
You're done. It's
And
going in the water.
The heat will suck the battery life out a little bit, so that's like a big thing too, and part
more
of
of
what.
a drain in the heat on the battery.
Which is another reason why you can't fly out there early in the morning.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So
A lot of things to think about.
a lot of things to think about.
What's next then? What are you guys working on? What projects are you working on? Because you have to start earlier in the morning and.
Trying to set up some stuff up north.
They're smart.
Got a bit of a
You know where you should go?
Sedona.
The barefoot. This might be tough though.
the barefoot.
Yes.
Trail in Flagstaff
on the list.
On the
is
list.
amazing.
on the
And if
list.
you can fly the drone, what's the lowest you can fly it?
As low
Well, I mean,
as you
it all
can go.
depends on what on kind of ground coverage and how low it is, if there's any obstacles or hazards down below. But yeah, I think I'm going to do that in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay,
It's on the list.
I'll go with you.
Okay. It's
if
fun.
I can.
Maybe a field trip.
We did go to Flagstaff for the Ultimate Summer Adventure because cooling
Is that
off.
where that snow park is?
Snow park.
No, it's called Flagstaff Extreme.
Flagstaff Extreme. We went there and we drove
What is
that.
this all about?
It is.
Do you have video of it?
We don't have
We
video
don't.
of it.
I have, but I'll play this video again because I think it's really fantastic.
Okay.
It is keeping me cool.
All right.
Just thinking about it and seeing the water.
Yeah. But where'd you go in Flagstaff?
Flagstaff Extreme is like an adventure course in the trees. It's all in the trees.
Wow.
So like you zip line from tree to tree. They have all these activities you walk on. You're all
You got a harness on with a
Yeah.
cable so you don't, like,
So
if
you're
you
not
do
gonna
fall, you're okay.
Okay, so how do you drone that? Because you have
Well,
the
very
tree-
carefully.
right? Because the trees are really thick, so
Yes.
you can't fly above the trees because you're not really going to see down between them. So you're almost flying literally like with the obstacle course
right.
in between the trees.
that was-
How do you navigate?
very careful.
Yeah, that was a tricky one. Both of us took care of that one.
Right, because when you're above it, like you said, you see trees and you maybe see some of the obstacle course, but you really don't see it like when you're right in front of it. So basically, that's because we have trees everywhere and we have people. So now we have to coordinate between that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so talk a little bit about animals then, because I know you guys have gone on
Yep.
about horses. So we have mountains, we have trees, we have water. How difficult is it to fly above the animals?
Well, we just try to keep a good distance from the drone and the animals so we don't spook anybody. So we're pretty high up and just kind of use our zoom for the animals to make sure that we get the good pictures that we get.
Yeah, for horses, except for the one in, where was the one he wanted to fly the horses right by? Mare.
Yeah, and Mayor.
It was
We
Mayor.
went on a horse trail.
Horse trail, and this really cool rancher wanted to get his horse used to the drone sound.
Yeah.
So he had us fly real close to the horses, which is something we never do.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it. We love having you on. We'll have you on again. I am going to go ahead and toss it over, you guys, to President Trump. He is now speaking at Lindsey Graham's funeral. We'll be back in a few.
Boom.
All right.
by the strength of his steadfast convictions, the force of his magnetic personality, and the goodness of his noble soul, Lindsay rose from a small town in rural South Carolina, a place he loved so much, to become a constant fixture of American politics at the highest level, and a force to be reckoned with all over the world. For more than 30 years, nothing of consequence happened in this capital without Lindsey Graham knowing about it. Nothing of significance happened anywhere in the world without Lindsey Graham having a view on it. And no bill became law in the most exceptional republic in human history without Lindsey Graham having a say in it. He was a man who gave America the full measure of his good and mighty heart until that heart itself just gave out. But even though Lindsey's life was cut short while he was still so full of vim and vigor, there can be no doubt that he lived absolutely to the fullest. He died doing the work he was born to do. He was truly a great politician, serving the country he loved to serve so deeply. He went out at the peak of his career and the top of his game as a legend that every one of us, many of us here today, are blessed to know him, and a friend that none of us will ever forget. There was truly nobody like Lindsey Graham. It was his hometown of central South Carolina that Lindsey first learned the art of politics. His parents ran a bar and pool hall on Main Street with a room in the back where the family spent and slept and did everything that you had to do. As Lindsey said, his father taught him the key to being a successful bar owner is that you have to be funny enough that people will keep coming back, and that you have to be tough enough that you can stay in business and thrive. A very difficult combination. For his entire storied career, that's exactly who Lindsey Graham was. He was the first person to make you laugh, and one of the last people that you've really ever wanted to fight. These were the traits that made him into one of the great figures in Senate history. Few like him. As a boy, Lindsey also learned his first lessons in diplomacy when the wife of one regular patron called the bar asking for her husband. She demanded to know, where is he? The man instructed Lindsey, tell her I'm not here. And young Lindsey nodded and said into the phone to the wife, he said to tell you that he's not here. That was Lindsey. When Lindsey was just 20 years old, he lost his mom to cancer. 15 months later, he lost his dad. Their deaths left his 13-year-old sister, Darlene, an orphan. But in God's mercy, she had her wonderful brother to take care of her. On top of it all, Lindsey became her guardian while still in college and helped raise her. He later said that for all his achievements, and he had many, his single proudest accomplishment in life was how well Darlene turned out. He had total respect and love for Darlene. Nothing could be more fitting than that woman who was Lindsey's proudest legacy now continues his legacy of service in the U.S. Senate, a place that he cherished. And I have no doubt that he's looking down today, beaming with pride at his sister, Senator Darlene Graham. Thank you, Senator. Lindsey first stormed into Washington with the Republican Revolution of 1994, becoming the first Republican to win his House district in 120 years. That was Lindsey. In 2002, he ran for the Senate in what should have been a loss, and he swept to an easy victory. Lindsey quickly became a master at maneuvering in one of the world's great legislative bodies. He secured record funding for our military as a budget committee chairman. He delivered the largest investment in border security in history, and last year he shepherded the passage of the largest tax cuts in American history, the great, big, beautiful bill. Had a lot of Lindsey goodies in there, too, I can tell you. And, of course, he was also a great...
President Trump speaking at the funeral for Lindsey Graham at the National Cathedral. We'll continue with that.
Wonderful person, a great gentleman. Justice Kavanaugh ended a disgraceful attack on this very good man and gave us one of the greatest moments the Senate has ever seen. It was a truly monumental moment in Senate history. I believe it was Lindsey's perhaps finest hour. But no matter how heated things got in Washington, virtually everyone, Republican or Democrat, liked Lindsey. Well, not everybody, but it sounds good. Not everybody. He was a tough cookie, okay? I have to veer from this for a second. He was a tough cookie, darling, but he was beautiful. But he was also ready with a joke and a gleam in his eye after being lectured on the excruciating details of patent law by a fellow senator during a flight. Lindsey declared that he had discovered a new form of enhanced interrogation and torture for the Guantanamo Bay area. He said this is really bad stuff and boring. And while he was an incredibly hard worker, he was not exactly an early riser, as many of you know. When Senator Tim Scott, a great gentleman in his own right, I can tell you, invited him to prayer breakfast at 8:30 a.m., Lindsey told him, Tim, if Jesus himself comes back before 10 a.m., I ain't going. Yet, while he was always quick to laugh and no one ever doubted the gravity of his mission, above all, Lindsey Graham believed in a strong America. He wanted a strong America. He had unwavering faith in the righteousness of American power and prayer. And he was extremely hawkish. I will tell you, he never saw a war that he didn't like. Only his true friends would understand that, but he wanted it for the good of our country. He felt in his bones that our destiny is to win, and that his job was to do everything he could to ensure our enemies would lose. It was this conviction that led him to serve 33 years in uniform in the Air Force and Air Force Reserves and Air National Guard, even while he was in office. And it was this conviction that took him as a senator to almost every country on earth, confronting America's adversaries and standing up for America's friends. He had tremendous friendships all over the world. It's a testament to his towering impact that among those mourning him here today are leaders, presidents, prime ministers from all over the globe. They're sitting right here before you. Lindsey met countless world leaders, yet wherever he went, he was always the same Lindsey Graham. When he met Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi in a tent in the desert, he told him, I expected something out of the Arabian Nights. This looks more like a Winnebago. That was not a good statement to make at the time. And when he met the Dalai Lama, Lindsey looked him straight in the eyes and said, so, can you really levitate? The Dalai Lama was not happy with that. But no matter how high he rose, he never forgot where he came from. There's probably not a single town in South Carolina where Lindsey did not help repair a bridge, expand a school, improve a hospital, or recover from a disaster. He was a force of nature, and I will miss him greatly. As you remember, Lindsey and I did not exactly get off to the best of starts. Running against each other, back in 2016, Lindsey said something rather nasty on his flight to becoming the next president of the United States. So naturally, I did something that I shouldn't have done. I shared his personal cell phone number with the millions of people that happened to be watching that particular day as I made a speech, a very important speech. And I remember the number 202-228-0292 if anybody wants to give it a shot. His phone exploded. He said, I had that number for 20 years. His phone totally, I don't know what he did with it. but it exploded. That was the beginning of a friendship in a way. But it was Lindsay who had the last laugh, because while I blew up his phone for one day, we became great friends, and Lindsay did not stop calling me for the next 10 years. It was not easy. I always cherish the memories of our golf games, and only because of his really, and I will say, this memorial service, it's so hard to say. A memorial service for Lindsay, it's hard to say. But I'll admit that one time Lindsey Graham and Annika Sorensen actually beat me and Gary Player together. Can you believe that? Annika played very well that day, actually. But right to the end, Lindsay carried in his golf bag the putter that once belonged to his dad, and he carried it with him with class and with a ring that was so beautiful of his mother. And they were laying right at his bedside. The night he died, they were there. He had him with him at all times. From that pool hall where his parents raised him to the halls of the United States Senate, where he was respected and loved, this son of South Carolina became one of the most important men in the most important country on earth. In a city where politicians often become jaded and cynical, Lindsey Graham never lost the old-fashioned American idealism that brought him to the highest levels of government and life. He took his duty seriously without taking himself too seriously. He was unwavering in his principles, but always willing to listen. He always wanted to listen. And one thing about Lindsey that we all know, he never quit. You wanted him to quit, you waited for him to quit, but he would never quit. Above all, Lindsey Graham loved America, and he believed in the American people. If you shared that view, you had a friend in Lindsey. If you didn't share it, there was no fiercer or more constant opponent. Our nation needs more men and women like that great person sitting, laying, wherever he may be. I think I know where he is, and I think he's up there. I think he's watching us. I'm pretty sure of it. Scripture tells us that blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life. For 71 years, Lindsey Graham was strong and steadfast. As a brother, a senator, a warrior, and a patriot, he withstood every last test, every single test that you can go through, and every trial. And now he wears the crown of life in heaven, reunited with his parents and reunited with his Lord. I end by saying something very, very special. Lindsey, we love you. God bless you. We will always be with you, and you were very, very special. Thank you. Thank you very much.
President Trump with the eulogy there at the National Cathedral, a truly special place in our nation, on a hill overlooking Washington, just a few miles from Capitol Hill, where Lindsey Graham represented the state of South Carolina for such a long time, with some stories being told, Des, by the leader of the free world who had a very great relationship with Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, absolutely. And that story, or portion of the story about the phone number, that was quite funny.
You want to hear some of that, right?
Yeah.
And everybody talks about his sense of humor, so good that they're including some of that.
Yeah. So right. I bet you some folks will give that number a try today, just to see,
for sure.
See how it rings.
Hey, we have a guest standing by. We did ask her if she would mind waiting just a few extra minutes. It's Fiorella. She's at RVshare. And this is interesting, Des. I think we just have a couple of minutes. But what is RVshare? What do you guys do?
Hi, yeah, thank you for having me. RVshare is a peer-to-peer RV rental marketplace where you can rent an RV and take a road trip without having to own one.
Oh, that's so cool. So if folks here in the Valley or, locally in Arizona want to do that, how do we go about renting an RV, and where can we take it?
Absolutely. You can head on to RVshare.com and explore the different type of RV rentals that RV owners locally to you offer. And you can find everything from drivable RVs, if you're looking to do that classic American road trip, to an RV that can be delivered directly to your destination. So you can just show up and enjoy it as an accommodation, but be out there and disconnect and enjoy all the pros of RVing.
Well, I got to ask you, though, because I rented an RV a few years ago. We drove up to Colorado, and things happen. We had some friends that also rented an RV, and we were kind of tooling down the road. The next thing you know, my buddy gets a flat tire. So it's not just like changing a tire on a four-door car. What happens if you get an engine breakdown or a flat tire? Then what?
Absolutely. So that's the best part of booking through a platform like RVshare, is that we have roadside assistance that's 24/7. So you can opt in to have all sorts of insurance coverage additional to this roadside assistant. So you'll be covered for any and all situations. So you can really just focus on enjoying the road trip and not having to figure out how to do all these things by yourself.
Wow. Are there any other guidelines or stipulations that folks watching the show need to be aware of here?
No, I think a misconception, though, is that you need a special driver's license to drive an RV, which is not the case. So really anybody above the age of 25 can rent an RV and hit the road and explore and get to know what RVing is all about.
Well, we got about 20 seconds left. What's it cost?
Anything, it really depends on what you're doing. If you're driving, it's going to be about $100 an average a night. And if you're renting a travel trailer, you can find those even from $20 a night.
You can barely find a motel room for $100 a night anymore, so that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it probably varies depending on what you book, right?
Absolutely, yeah. From luxury to standard RVs, there's really something for everyone.
All right. Sounds like Airbnb on wheels,
yeah,
if you ask me.
This. What a great idea for a business.
Thanks,
Fiorella, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, how cool is that? And if you're in the market for maybe you're thinking about buying an RV and you're not sure.
That's a great way to test it out, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Mystery Cam time. If you think you have an idea where this famous harbor is, go ahead, join the chat. We got a lot of folks online today. Tell us what you think. Yeah. Mystery cam guessers. Wait a sec. Our mystery cam changed in the middle of the stream.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Is this the same one, but from a different
No, I
view?
don't think so, because I knew that one. That was Baltimore.
Oh.
And so this is not Baltimore, I don't believe.
No.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's some kind of a suburb or something. I got an aunt that lives out there, kind of in a suburb of Baltimore in Maryland.
We didn't get too many guesses, though. Just Low Philosophy and B. Miguel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Low Philosophy had thought maybe it was Cincinnati,
Okay.
and B. Miguel said Michigan.
Well, where is Linda Monty? Let's see. Where is all of our regulars? All right, you guys. I don't know, Des. That's really unique looking. You've got a lot of low-rise buildings and then one
just kind of like stack of high-rise there, kind of off in the distance.
Ooh,
Charles says Virginia.
Okay.
And another guess for Michigan. They're from Louis.
Really?
Okay.
Okay, what do you want to go with?
I'll just go quick. Sure, Virginia.
Okay, I'll go Michigan if that's where the guesses are coming in
All right,
from.
Jenks? I've never heard of that.
Jenks, Oklahoma? Okay, hang on. Here we go. Jenks, Oklahoma.
But is that for this one, or was it? Oh, the other one was Baltimore.
Yeah, the other one's Baltimore.
Oh, okay, so this is Oklahoma.
So if you guessed early on and you guessed Maryland, you also win. How about that?
Earlier.
Hey, we are really happy to welcome John Schufeld back to the Dr. John, I should say. Still practicing, right?
Scary, yes.
Yeah.
It's scary. Why do you say that?
Just for the patients.
But you got a few other things going on right now. Tell us about it.
So ASU Medical School opened yesterday, and welcome our first class, 36 students of future physician engineers. They're kicking off the first week, and they've dove right in.
What makes this school so unique amongst all in the country?
It is a combined MD, Master's in Engineering school, and so they'll get out with dual degrees, and they'll be trained in both engineering and medicine and really systems level thinking. So they'll be top drawer as far as taking care of patients, but they'll also look at ways to improve the whole medical system, look at different devices, different medications, for example, different drug development things. They'll really be trained across both disciplines.
Well, and I think, people would generally associate engineering as one field and then, the medical field as something else. Why the combination of the two? How is this going to help the future physician?
I mean, I think the combination right now is, I hate to say this being inside, but there's a large part of medicine that's broken. I mean, if you ever try to even get into an appointment, it takes a long time. Getting surgery scheduled takes quite a while. If you have a significant illness, it takes a while to get your bearings. And we need some system level thinkers to improve the whole healthcare ecosystem. And that's what ASU will train these physicians to do.
Is this the wave of the future, or will this be quite unique to ASU? In other words, as you look, say, 5 or 10 years down the line, and we all know that AI is coming and hopefully can play a role in solving some diseases, et cetera. Are you more on the cutting edge, or is this going to be unique?
I mean, I think ASU, like in a lot of things they do, is really on the bleeding edge. So they're very much on the cutting edge, and I think other schools will start to follow along as well, because I do think this is a way to train future physician leaders. I mean, we need more physicians who are at the bedside, of course, as these physicians will be, but they'll also be looking at the approach the whole system.
Tell us about this video that you brought along and the message that it kind of sends, do you think?
I mean, this was the opening video for the medical school, and it just looks at different ways the medical school will act to improve the healthcare system and how they'll train physicians across as kind of multidimensionally.
And how do you see, because, Ron had mentioned AI, hopefully that helps us in the future, maybe solve some things that, we couldn't before. But how do you feel about AI and medicine, and where are we going?
So I went back in 2018 to get a certificate in AI from MIT for 2 years. So I wasn't, believe me, first, by any stretch of imagination. Turing was the first person I think who really thought through the AI. But it will be a way to accelerate how quickly we implement and change things in medicine, and it's already starting to have a really major effect. So, for example, open evidence. I think 66% of the physicians in the U.S. use a tool called open evidence to help them with diagnosis, interpret disease, interpret symptomatology, and it's really medicine on your phone. So you'll still need physicians at the bedside interacting with patients, but they'll have this backup. Instead of a book, they'll have it on their phone, and they can consult at any time.
Just a few days ago, we had we were doing the story on William Shatner. Guy in his 90s, mid-90s, stage 4 melanoma, which normally has a pretty bad outcome. We were talking to the doctor who runs the clinic that actually treated him. And he said, what is happening right now in medicine, where we are, I guess it's with some new immunology types of drugs. To you, is that the most exciting development that's happening right now in medicine, or are there some others that are to that level as well? Because we're starting to see people who almost you would have thought would have had a death sentence that are full on in remission.
So true. I mean, we're looking at things. We have a business called Viva Med Biopharma and then Accelerated Ventures. We are looking at things that are really things that I could not have imagined 5 years ago even. And a lot of these are tools that are derived from AI that have accelerated the rate of change. So yes, using immunology to cure cancer is one of them. Using CRISPR therapies to do gene editing to help things like cystic fibrosis and sickle cell disease. I mean, I think the rate of change in the next 5 and 10 years is going to be logarithmic, and it will be really cool.
And it's important we keep up, right? And I mean, hence the creation of this school. What are you most excited to see some of these students accomplish? I know you get to speak with them next week, right?
I do.
What's the messaging going to be?
The message is going to be medicine is the best way I know to pay it forward so the future generations, not only physicians, but our patients can have the health care they deserve.
Is it too much to hope that if these continue, I'm jumping back to cancer for a second. We've all had either members of family, friends,
we
etc.
know someone, right? And, close to us.
Is it too much to hope that certain forms of cancer we could say could be cured? I'm not saying everything, but some of them could be cured within 5 or 10 years.
I think 100%.
Really?
There are certain forms of cancer that will be cured or will be diagnosed so early that will become much like AIDS used to be. It'll be a disease that you can live with and have a full lifespan.
Wow.
What do you say to the critics who don't believe that? Who think have lost hope, in the healthcare system?
Hey, we're trained to be skeptical.
They'll never cure us. They rely on us for, earning a profit. And
I think the evidence points to the opposite direction. And again, there's a lot wrong with medicine. There's a lot to change. But I think that's what makes it so exciting. We can make a difference.
Des and I were talking before you came on for the interview, and we said John should share, Dr. John Shufelt should share a little bit of his life story. Where did you start out? And just give us the Cliff Notes version.
Your
resume
that takes is so impressive.
Today.
You can get lost in all that you've accomplished.
So where did I start out with?
Where were you raised?
Chicago, Illinois. Started life in an orphanage. Was fortunate to be adopted.
Wow.
And,
an orphanage, really? Wow.
I did. Catholic Charities, and fortunate to be adopted and grew up in the suburb of Chicago. Was a bottom tier student at best through grade school and high school. Got into one college I applied to, Drake University. They admitted 98% of the people that applied that year. Okay. They used to call it the Harvard of the Midwest until I got in.
You were jokingly telling us you're not sure that today, if this school of yours, that you could even get into
I would have absolutely not gotten into the school. The students the applications that I'm looking at are off the charts. That we are going to get future physicians who will change the world.
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
That's really hopeful.
Really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so you got into Drake, and then kind of fast forward. We got a couple more minutes, if you can.
So got into Drake. Finally found my footing. Started learning how to study, and got into medical school. I'm pretty sure because I picked up a family on the side of the road. On the way to the interview, the dean asked me and says, "Hey, John, it says here you're a true humanitarian. What does that mean?" I thought, well, who wrote that about me? I said, well, on the way to the interview, there was a South-Vietnamese family stuck on the side of the road, and I picked them up and drove them to Dixon, Illinois, and then drove to the interview. And,
hometown of Ronald Reagan.
Yes, and he said, "Okay, you're in," and I thought he was joking. And 4 years later, I was shocked to get a degree.
Oh, that's great. Then you came to the desert.
Did a emergency medicine residency in Chicago, came to the desert, and started kind of on this dual entrepreneurial path and medical path.
And in the early 90s, you founded NextCare.
NextCare, 93.
Wow.
Because of a guy with almost a bee sting.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's another story
Another
for another
story.
time.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
That's
we need that
great.
story too.
Okay, well, we love it when you come visit.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks for all you do for ASU.
Pleasure.
And we can't wait to see how that really becomes a gem in the core of our downtown.
Yeah. We got to go check it out. We got to get in the lab
Yeah, we
with
do.
these students, see
It's
what they're
pretty cool.
learning. That would be fun.
I don't know how we're going to get there, Des, but I'm just thinking for possible vehicles, the Wienermobile. This is the toughest transition we've had all day. No, hey, did you hear? It's the 90th birthday of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, and they actually created a cake on behalf of the Oscar Mayer folks. I guess there is a cake making operation that in the end they said,
everyone
look at
and
this.
everything deserves to celebrate its birthday,
Yeah.
I suppose, right?
Even the Wienermobile, it's
what's
been
more
in our
fitting than a
parking.
cake for your 90th?
And it's been in our parking lot like 5 or 6 times.
You
so
know who
that's-
does a really cool event, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but out at Gilbert Regional Park when the weather gets nice, they do like an automobile kind of show. It's tailored for like younger kids. Like they'll have the Swapmobiles out.
Okay.
And the Wienermobile was there, and you get to see it in person and take photos. And so if you've never seen it, I know that's one event to look for
That is
it
so
might be
cool.
at. But yeah,
All
happy
right.
birthday.
Well, now you've seen what a hot dog cake, and by the way, it comes complete with ketchup and mustard, what it looks like.
Of course.
One last story for today, and it has to, the headline says flirting with AI. So according to a recent poll, more than 10% of Americans admit to having a flirty conversation with an AI chatbot. What is this all about, huh?
I don't know. What are y'all thinking? That's
yeah.
what I was thinking when I was reading
Correct,
this.
right?
But it's kind of startling. 11% say they have flirted or had at least a romantic conversation with an AI chatbot. And I was just thinking, what does that sound like? Like, what are you saying to AI? What is it saying back to you?
Yeah, it says young men are found to be the most likely to have those talks. You know, these guys, they're always on the prowl.
I suppose.
And they're probably most likely to fall for a line or two. So
You're so gullible.
Yeah.
I'm going to start Googling AI chatbot. Good pickup lines.
All right. Anyway, that is our show. Thanks for being with us. We always call this the fastest 30 minutes in the biz. I guess it's time for us to say our goodbyes, Des.
Yeah, that's right. We will see you tomorrow, sending you off with Oklahoma, right? Yep, there you go. We'll see you.